Boom 0. r/AskReddit. What is a huge red flag when meeting new people? They are proud, calling themselves jerks, two-faced and other very questionable qualities. Quote unquote, I'm brutally honest. Fine line between blunt and rude. As a Redditor whose name I have forgotten once said, people who call themselves brutally honest usually enjoy the brutality more than the honesty. If they harshly criticize you for making a mistake, it's fine to be annoyed with someone for making a mistake, but it's not okay to bully them over it. I was called a retard once as a teenager by a so-called friend because I bought her the wrong item for her birthday present. I remember feeling like the most stupid person on the planet. I had a friend who would remind me or bring up my mistakes or try to embarrass me in front of other people constantly. I'm still not sure what she was trying to do. It only made her look like an asshole. Trying to pull herself up by pushing you down. I've had the same thing happen to me. Usually it's people with really low self-esteem. They might not even be aware that they are doing. A confrontation can therefore solve the problem altogether. After 24 years of friendship, I just stopped talking to her. You would figure a few mistakes or dumb things I did in high school would stay in the past, but nope. Any time spent with her ended up with her listing every embarrassing thing I've ever did or said. All set with that, she can find someone else to try that on. Oh, and she threw herself at any boyfriend I ever had too, even after she was engaged married. Sounds like you made the right decision. If they start talking about their MLM, multi-level marketing, scheme, they see you as a prospect and not as a friend. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's an inverted funnel. I'm not selling something, I'm offering you an opportunity to better yourself. I once met a girl who told me she had stabbed her ex-partner and didn't believe in human rights, all within about 5 minutes. So would you share some red flags you noticed in her? They keep interrupting or continue to use a shortened version of my name after specifically telling them not to. I hate it when they do that too. Jinx. Same. Afro really hurts me sometimes. Like, why would people do such a thing? Hunt. I can't think of any reason. Underscore. Treating waitstaff poorly, or anyone in a customer service job, really, or, anyone. My father likes to say that a true measure of a man is how he treats a little guy. I treat my little guy well. I beat my little guy furiously. I must be a terrible person. If they make plans with you and then cancel later because they got a better offer. I dumped a friend of 10 years for constantly pulling shit like this. It's really shitty to always feel like you aren't good enough. She ended up getting mad at me for not bringing it up sooner. All the more reason to cut ties. Admittedly, you had a decade to bring it up. I didn't have concrete proof that she was ditching me for other people until like 2 weeks before I brought it up. Up until that point I just thought I was being an insecure, paranoid and depressed teen. They immediately talk doo-doo about a stranger. I went to a meetup recently and got some drinks with the people after. One guy gave me a bad vibe. He seemed like he had a really low tolerance for other people messing up and being a little awkward. He was like, yeah, I was a little bit nervous about going to the meetup, but then I realized that there are some really freaking weird people and there's no reason to be nervous. Just sat wrong with me because I'm kind of awkward and just want to meet new people. The last straw was when we were playing pool at a bar, and this one girl had something wrong with her voice and couldn't talk very loud. So he actually asked her if that's how her voice always was or if there's something wrong with it. What a douchebag. He invited me to watch football with him the next day. LOL, I didn't respond. Having a photo of yourself and only yourself as your background picture. You barely know them but suddenly you are their best friend. Everyone else is just awful. You are so special and awesome, especially at listening to their many problems, because you are so empathetic and smart and insightful. Don't run. Sprint. Yup, I hate that. To add to this, they expect you to start spending all of your free time with them and get mad at you if you don't. It's like they want to make themselves an important part of your life but the relationship isn't strong enough to warrant that level of interaction. Yes. I was really close with this woman I worked with. She was a bit older than me, 17 years older. but she was always down for a good time. I started dating my now husband, who also worked with us, and she pitched a fit because she ate lunch by herself for a few days and said I wasn't being attentive enough to her. Also said I'm just that girl who gets a boyfriend and neglects everything else. Such a slap in the face considering I broke plans with him several times to do poo poo for her, such as picking up her stepdaughter an hour away at 1 AM when she got back from a school trip, and an emergency phone call at 11 PM when her son got violent with her wife's kid. Anytime she needed anything, I was there. I did more for her than I would do for most people, and I'm an asshole because I went out to lunch with my boyfriend a few times. Get fricked. I clearly made the right decision considering I'm married to the man now. Feeling worse after meeting them than you did before. Sometimes the person just seems off, but you can't put a finger on what exactly. Over time, you realize that your gut instinct was correct. Care to give an example? Sounds like it happened to you. I've had it happen a few times when starting a new job. Your manager takes you around the workplace and introduces you to everyone. Even though everyone will shake your hand and say great to meet you, there is usually a person or two that you just get a negative vibe from. Over time, you discover that person is difficult to work with. Not always the case, but it seems to apply the vast majority of the time. Had a guy like that who was in a couple positions removed above me and introduced himself as I'm basically your boss. He was let go a couple months later. If they quickly become enamored or shower you with too much praise before getting to know you, especially if they put on a much too intense display of love and affection. I don't mean flirting, I mean declaring their love or emotional affection, or being overly generous. This can be a red flag warning of someone who is abusive, either as a relationship or even as a friend. Abusive people at first, and usually for the first few months or even a year, can be extremely charming and pour affection onto you, but the facade will start to slip. It'll be subtle at first, but then their effort to make you happy will gradually slip away to nothing and you'll be treated quite poorly by them. They may still on rarer occasions be nice again, but this is to stop you from leaving them and they'll be right back to their bad behavior. The effort at first is to obtain you, then they turn more self-centered and reveal they care little for your needs once they have you, so to speak. This isn't always the case, but it is something to keep a close eye on and not allow them to manipulate you if their care turns out to be a facade. And always remember the golden rule: live with someone for 6 months before getting engaged to marry them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're an epic gamer. Ignore if you're a cringe boomer. See you in the next video.